Hello and welcome to today's video. If you are new here, my name is Chelsea. I am a third grade teacher in Pennsylvania, and today's video is going to be kind of like a recap of the first 2 weeks of school. So I had some intentions to vlog within the first 2 weeks of school, but I should have known with my stress levels and anxiety, it was just not in the cards. It was not going to happen. So I just, focused on being present during the first 2 weeks, but now we are through those and it is the weekend. It's actually Labor Day today, so a nice long weekend. And I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of go over what those first 2 weeks looked like for us. So I actually have my laptop with me because I am going to pull up my first 2 weeks of plans so that I can kind of remember that whole whirlwind of a time and just kind of go through some of the activities that we got to do as a class. I don't even remember this. This feels like a million years ago. So what's sticking out the most to me, honestly, are our read-alouds. Read-alouds have always been my favorite part of any school day. And the beginning of the school year, there's so many good ones. So I'm just scrolling through, we read First Day Jitters, we read The Day You Begin, A Letter from Your Teacher, All Are Welcome is a good one. We also read Pencils on Strike. They thought that one was really silly. We read We Don't Eat Our Classmates. And we have The Magical Yet and Our Class Family. I might have been missing some in there, but those are some that are popping out to me. Throughout that first week, we did a lot of read-alouds and then a connected activity. So I remember on the first day of school, we did a read-aloud of First Day Jitters, pretty much straight away in the morning, kind of during our morning meeting time. And then we got to do a little social emotional check-in. So I had different pictures of animals with different emotions, and I was just saying how are you guys feeling on this first day of school? So I had them turn and talk to a friend on the carpet, and just we got to go through some of them were really excited and ready, and some of us were feeling a little bit nervous, and some were feeling a little bit tired because we're not used to waking up super early. But that was a good way to give the kids a chance to talk to some other friends in the class that they might not know super well, or maybe that they haven't seen in a while over the summer break, and just something low-key, just checking in. How are you feeling? We also did a lot of our district-wide PBIS lessons, going around different parts of the school, to the cafeteria. How do we be respectful, responsible, and safe? Because those are our big 3 rules in the cafeteria. How do we follow those 3 in the hallways and out at recess? So we got to do some little tours around the building and then discuss what does it look like to be a respectful, responsible, and safe student in all these different zones. Speaking of zones, we also touched on a lot of zones of regulation stuff during that first week of school, talking about the red, yellow, green, blue zones, how none of them are necessarily bad because we're human and we all experience emotions, but we do need to understand some strategies on how we can get ourselves into the green zone and ready to learn. Of course, there's always those beginning of the year must-do things iPad setup and all that kind of stuff, going over what's in our classroom. We did get to do STEM bins within the first week. We didn't do them as a morning work activity as I was initially hoping to do, just because we weren't ready for that yet. So I took some time throughout our day, on the days that we didn't have special, I was all right guys, I know we're excited to use these STEM bins, but we need to show that we are ready to use them and be responsible with them. So we kind of had some practice runs with them, showing that we could work well as our table teams, showing that we could clean up at level 0. So when those announcements are on, we'd be able to hear those announcements. And that seemed to go pretty well. We had a couple days of trial runs, and then by the end of the second week, we were able to do it in the mornings, and it's honestly working out really well. And I'm really pleased that I went ahead and dove into the STEM bin world this year. It's going well so far. So we also just did some get to know you activities. I made or had them make little pennants with some of their favorite things. I think I showed that one of my setup videos. I did an activity called Let's Flamingle, which I've used literally every school year since my student teaching semester. So classic, but they still love it, going around and seeing what they have in common with other kids. We also made some of those fortune teller, cootie catcher things for getting to know me. So they got to fold them all up and make them, and they got to meet up with a friend or two around the room and practice like using them and asking different questions to get to know them. That was really fun. They enjoyed that a lot. I think I just found that on Teachers Pay Teachers, so I can put in like a little link down below of where I found mine. And then to finish off that first week, we did make our class family bracelets after reading our class family. So that was one of the things that I was prepping in one of my classroom setup vlogs. And it went pretty well. I mean, 22 kids making bracelets all at once. It got a little chatty, which is to be expected. But overall it went really well. Even though my string was like really annoying to tie, like I literally had to knot it like 10 times in order for it to stay. But they were all like super patient, just left their bracelets there and worked on another activity while they were waiting for me to tie it, and it worked out really well. So that kind of goes over a lot of week 1. During week 2, we kind of dove into more of the curriculum stuff. So we actually started math in week 2, and in 3rd grade at my building, we switched for math. So we, at the end of week 1, we like leveled our students and like divided them into groups. And so that first day back for week 2, we were getting the kids ready, like this is the stuff you need to take to your math class, this is the classroom you're gonna go to. And then once we got our math kiddos and we went over like our procedures for what math looks like, so that was a big part of week 2. We also started our social studies curriculum, which is like talking about like our county's history and maps and all that kind of stuff. So got into that a little bit more. And then also in ELA, we do like whole group, small group, and during small groups, we do something called a checklist, which is new to me. My team, who I joined this year, has done this for years. So I'm just like, all right, I'll go along, do whatever you do. So like each week, the students will get a whole checklist of tasks that they'll be working on when they're not meeting with me in small groups. And so those are on like ReadWorks and Padlet and Seesaw. And so we just took a lot of time every day in ELA during that second week going over like, this is what this checklist item looks like. This is how you get to it, log in. Then we had time for the kids to practice logging in and like going through that activity just to see how it works. And that way, hopefully this week of school, week 3, when they actually go to do that on their own, they won't ask so many questions just because they'll already have had like a week's worth under their belt of practicing how to do that. Now, because of that, we did not dive in to actual whole group ELA yet because we're just kind of taking things like little bits at a time, getting them used to it. So because we weren't doing whole group ELA, I went ahead and did an author study as like filling in that time during whole group ELA. So I chose Kevin Henkes because he is a classic and I love his books and I have a bunch of his books. So each day we read a book of his and did like a activity that goes along with it. So the one day we did character traits, another day we did like plot setting, all of that. So like having the kids get in the routine of like doing some of the ELA work without it being actual like curriculum. So that's pretty much our overview of those first 2 weeks. Beyond just what we did, my students, I have 22 of them, they are so sweet. I have some sweethearts in this class, but they are also very chatty so far. So that's something that we're going to need to work on. But like, I'm trying to find that balance between like being gracious, but also like laying down the law at the beginning of the year. Just cause like I know that they're so excited to be back with their friends and the beginning of the school year is exciting for everybody. So like letting them have some freedom in some parts of the day to be able to talk and chat, but also like reminding them that we need to, you know, reel it in when it's time to learn. But yeah, we'll continue to work on that. But overall, I am really enjoying my class. I think it's going to be a good year as long as we can get that chattiness in check. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I have mentioned this before, but 3rd grade is one of the grade levels that I've had the least experience with in my teaching career so far, other than kindergarten. But yeah, I am enjoying it so far. I know I'm gonna have to deal with some state testing at the end of the year, being in 3rd grade, but so far, so good. I am feeling pretty good overall with the start of the school year. I am gonna have to wrap this video up before too long because I have a ton of lesson planning that I have to do for the week ahead. So I'm gonna need to go ahead and get into that. but I did want to let you know that I'm going to try to do some vlogging in my classroom some more this week, maybe. I think I can handle that with week 3, we'll see. But tomorrow is back to school night, so that might be a good day to do it. But I'm not gonna make any promises yet. I'm just saying I'm going to try, because I do want to keep these videos flowing for you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any more questions about what these first 2 weeks looked like, if there's anything I didn't cover that you are curious about, I'd be happy to answer those in the comments. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.